Hello and welcome to Those Forking Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy, book, TV, movie, pop culture, fandoms, and how they integrate into our adult lives. I'm Christine.
And I'm Natasha.
And today we're going to be discussing our favorite romance book tropes and some of our least favorites, but a lot of our favorites, and where we find them in movies, TV, books, and just having a grand old time digging into why we love the ones we love. It's going to be fun.
I love tropes.
I love tropes too. I mean, tropes are what makes the romance world go round.
Wow.
We need the romance world. So before we get into that, we are going to roll into our Snap, Crackle, pop culture news. Natasha, what have you got today?
Okay, so a little bit more news in the ends with us.
Okay, sounded sad.
Okay.
Okay.
You like said something earlier and you're like, let's move on. I don't know what. Okay, anyway. All right. So it ends with us. It's filming in New York City right now. They just had a new casting announcement for Hassan Minhaj.
Wait, he's in it?
Yes, he's in it.
Where? Who is he?
I don't know.
Wow, this is some half news.
Right?
I don't know.
Listen, I had to fill the doc pretty quickly.
Okay.
He's set to play Marshall, a successful tech entrepreneur and Lily Bloom's brother-in-law.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay, because his sister is Jenny Slate. Okay,
And
I got it.
Aren't they in the same apartment complex, right? Like they're like above her.
They might be. Yeah, they were definitely close because I remember them going to see them a bunch. So, all right.
Yes.
That's cool.
And then we also got our first paparazzi photos of Atlas. And this actor, why did I not write his name down? But he was in failing
We're
today.
Professional with our Snap, Crackle, pop culture news. I'm about to give you some Taylor Swift.
No one knows his name.
After this.
So Atlas, he's an actor from 1912, and I loved him in that show. Like, I only watched his bits because I just like.
So you didn't watch the show?
I didn't. Alex watched the show. I was just there.
You were
and
sewing.
then I was sewing or on my phone, and then I looked up when he was on screen. I was like, "Oh!"
When I saw him,
I know a lot of people
the
do
television.
this. But we got more paparazzi photos, and there's some really they had this big embrace. That looks swoony. Blake looks really cool in this one outfit, which I feel like Christine is gonna love.
Oh, I can't really see it from that picture. I'm gonna have to Google.
I'll send you the post. It's on Entertainment Weekly.
All right.
But anyways, I'm the first photos were just like, whoa, but definitely she was not the character was not in a good state of mind because it's definitely reflecting within her wardrobe.
Yeah, I saw another one with a really baggy outfit, and I was like, yeah, they're going for a mood here.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see that guy that plays Atlas and I don't see his face, I think it's Chris Pine. He has the same hair as Chris Pine.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about his
that.
head. Yes, it's like Chris Pine's head.
He's like a Chris Pine meets Scott Eastwood.
All right. I don't know who Scott Eastwood is, but I
yes,
trust
you
on that.
do.
Who is Scott Eastwood?
He's Clint Eastwood's son.
How would I know Clint Eastwood's son?
He was in the Wildest Dreams music video. He did that one.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he did that one movie.
Clint Eastwood's son was in the Wildest Dreams music video?
Yeah, he's an actor.
Who else has he played other than her boyfriend in Wildest Dreams?
He was in a Nicholas Sparks movie, Lone Star. Or he played the cowboy who wrangles lassos.
All right. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Cool. Is he in Yellowstone?
No.
Okay. All right. So moving on, our next news item is that Taylor Swift has now released a new version of Midnight's yet again. This is like Midnight's all night long. Here, I'm going to get the technical name so we have one thing right. Midnight's Till Dawn edition. All right. And on this edition, we've got Hits Different, which was on the Target special edition. They're like 3 new songs. And I was like, Hits Different is not, it's exactly the opposite of a new song. We've had it since the beginning on the Target exclusive edition. We can just finally stream Hits Different, which is great. And then there is the Karma with Ice Spice edition, the Ice Spice edition of Karma. A new music video dropped last night for that. I don't know if you saw it yet, Natasha.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of green screen and just like, it was kind of like images, you know, when she's singing in the images, and they were interesting visuals for sure. But I saw a breakdown of it, and it was like each different backdrop. They were like, this backdrop is red, this backdrop is fearless, this backdrop is speak now. You know, they were saying that each different look was representing one of her eras, which I haven't analyzed it enough to see that. But at the end of it, we focus in on a cup of like cappuccino or something, and the foam is in the shape of a clock, and the clock's about to strike midnight, like the era's almost done, or like the time is now.
How is it almost done? We just got
I don't
started.
know, because we're about to go into Speak Now. That's why I think she's saying.
We've already had Speak Now era.
No, the new one. Speak Now Taylor's version.
Theirs are way too short. I don't like them. I don't agree with this.
Well, it's not over really midnight. I think okay, so let me just talk about this midnight situation. So she was releasing a limited edition physical CD that was only going to be sold supposedly this weekend at East Rutherford, New Jersey, where all the shows are this weekend. And there's an extra track on that one called Losing Me, quote from the vault. Now, as soon as I see the name Losing Me, and off that CD that's not on the physical CD is Glitch and Perish, the 2 big like I'm in love with Joe songs. And so they weren't going to be on the CD, and in their place was going to be Losing Me, which I immediately knew was going to be a tragic breakup song. It's going to tell the story of things that happened. I was like, how could she do this? Only release it on a physical CD, only available in New Jersey? Are you kidding?
That's where you're from. Don't you have family?
I'm from. It was like she was going to leave it to me, but I wasn't going to be there. I was very upset. But of course, come Friday, yesterday, right now as we're recording this, it leaked immediately. And the song is so good and so sad. The bridge is just like punch you in the gut with a knife and twist it gut-wrenching. Like, it is excellent. I listened to it over and over and over and over again. It says it's available for digital download now for 24 hours. So you're going to miss your window by the time that this comes out. But it is all over the internet outside of that. Yeah, one of the lines in it is like, I wouldn't marry me either.
I mean, I understand her like doing an exclusive CD kind of thing, but like, wouldn't she want to like release it out to the public? So it's, I don't know.
She's going to release it out to the public, but it was going to be like, I bet on a delay, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's out now. You should listen to it. And okay, there's also on the streaming version, the more Lana version of Snow on the Beach. And that version is so good. Like, I got goosebumps when she started to sing, and the song just really floated up my list of rankings of midnight songs. It's very, very good with Lana on it. So highly recommend that version of Snow on the Beach. All of a sudden, it doesn't feel repetitive anymore.
I haven't listened to any of the new songs yet, but I've been on a Lana kick after our last episode, so I'm
Get you Lana fix on Snow on the Beach, more Lana version. All right. So we are going to jump into what right now. But before we do, we have a quick word from our sponsors. Those Forking Fangirls is supported by Manta Sleep. Sleep is so important to your overall health and well-being, and it just gets harder as we get older and have more stressors in our everyday life. And what can really be helpful in getting a deep, mindful, more uninterrupted, restful sleep experience is a sleeping mask. And studies have shown that sleep masks can improve cognitive learning and alertness and really aid in getting an uninterrupted sleep experience.
So Manta Sleep, they are all about the pro-nap movement. A nap, they found, is more effective than a cup of coffee. It's better for your health and energy levels. And what makes it easier to nap than a portable blackout curtain, complete with razor-thin Bluetooth headphones. Manta Sleep makes the world's best sleep mask. They provide 100% blackout for deeper sleep, and they're infinitely adjustable for personalized fit. They're made of soft, breathable materials and zero pressure on eyelids and lashes.
Yeah, Natasha and I went on a trip last year where we could have really used our Manta Sleep sleeping masks. We were in little hotel rooms sharing a bed and inmate, falling asleep to our noises, because we all fall asleep to our noises now, do we not? We all do. And so we had to pop in like AirPods to hear our noises separately, and that sucks at a hotel. They hurt your ears, they fall out in the sheets and get lost. And had we had these beauties, we could have hooked the Bluetooth up to our phone, blacked out our
Christine
visions,
puts it over her eyes. Stop talking.
out our visions. And gotten peaceful, restful sleeps instead of me struggling with an AirPod in one ear and an earplug in the other.
Yes. Or she just asked me, she's like, can I just play this out loud? I'm like, sure.
This is so good for sharing different sleep spaces with lots of people. And the mask is specifically made to help you sleep. It has a 20-hour battery life, tabs for easy speaker adjustment, and there's no audible battery noises when it's dying, so it's not going to jolt you awake like your AirPods will be like when it's dying. It does not do that.
Yes, I like to go to sleep with my rain sounds or a deep sleep playlist, and it's really helpful if you are in just different sleeping areas, like if you have people over and you don't want to disrupt them with your sounds, or you're just trying to fall asleep and not be awoken by screaming children or animals in the house. You know, you never know.
Anything disruptive. So if you are ready for a more restful, wonderful nap sleep experience, you can head to mantasleep.com using the link in our show notes, and you can use code FANGIRL for 10% off your first order. Woo!
Woo!
All right. Moving on into what right now. Natasha, have you been reading this week?
No.
Me either. I've been writing.
Woo! I've been sewing.
All right. What have you been watching?
Not a lot either. So, Christy and I both watched the Mrs. Maisel finale last night.
Series finale
of
of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, made by Amy Sherman Palladino, who made Gilmore Girls. She really knocked it out of the park from start to finish.
So perfect.
It was perfect. I was just so proud of everyone, the characters, the creators of the show, like all the actors. It was literally from start to finish a perfect show, and I will be recommending it for the rest of time,
forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, it's on
It'll
Amazon
be like
Prime.
The show I tell my kids about. Like, we have to watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel when you're older because she shows her boobs and cusses a lot, but
they're gonna be like, is this what life was like for you? Like, no, it takes place in the 60s.
I do. It's so fun because, never mind. It's so fun because we follow like a talent manager, and I kind of have similarities to that because I am like a talent manager by night or by day.
We also follow a comedian on her journey, and which was so fascinating to me because I've never seen a show where we like follow someone who wants to work in stand up all the way through, and I loved that journey, and also just the idea that it's so almost frowned upon for her to be doing this. It's like they're moving from a time where like women are just wives into a time where like women are starting to like be have more independent and have their own careers. It's at the start of that really forward-thinking movement. So there's still a lot of people that are like, what are you doing? Go get remarried.
Yeah.
The series starts off with her husband leaving her. So
yeah, and that's what kind of sets the whole thing off
in motion. I'm going to rewatch. I'm so excited. I've already rewatched seasons 1 and 2 at least twice, but it's been a while.
Rachel Brosnahan, she's just so incredible. She's Midge Maisel to me. So anytime I see her in another role, I'm just like, I want you and like your talk fast and the way that she talks voice. I do know she's up for a role for Lois Lane in the new Superman. So it's like between her and 2 other actors. I hope she gets it because I would love to see her in that. Yeah. I also rewatched Bridgerton for like the millionth time while I was sewing.
Nice. Which season?
I'm on season 2, so we rewatched season 1, and it was the first time I've rewatched it since watching Queen Charlotte, and it just made the Queen Charlotte bits like more sad.
Yeah, there's a lot of the king just showing up randomly, which I didn't remember at all.
Me either, because it's just like, oh, well, we just want to see Daphne and Simon. But now I'm really paying attention. Now I'm on season 2. It's just a good show to put on while I've been sewing with a friend, and it's just a good thing to put on and not really focus on it.
Have it in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the Yellow Jackets season 2 finale yesterday, which is when it dropped, and it was so good. I was screeching by myself and like slapping the table because I was eating it. I was having lunch and I was just sat there afterward because I was like, I can't stop watching the finale episode to write. Like, I need to finish this. It's so excellent and so fucked up as usual, but I love it. And I'm just so excited about Elijah Wood. It seems like he's going to be in it more. He's in the season this season, and I love his character, and I feel like we're going to be seeing him again in season 3, and I am fucking pumped because I love him. And I also started watching Silo, which Natasha recommended last week, or she also recommended the week before, but she didn't get to talk about it on the show yet.
No.
Naomi says that I'm so surprised you like Yellow Jackets because it's so dark. You know, I like dark shit. I just don't like when it's scary. And I don't find this scary. I enjoy a dark. It just has to be like the different darknesses.
Well, it's dark and it's also like kind of kitschy, like especially with the older characters, like it's funny at times.
It is
especially the second to last.
It's like a dark humor too. The whole thing, everything has kind of a dark tongue-in-cheekness to it, which I love.
What did you think about Silo?
So I'm enjoying Silo. I am in episode 3 now, so I'm excited to learn more. It really gives me Westworld vibes, and season 1 of Westworld is like god tier for me. And every time I hear the music in Silo, I'm brought right to Westworld. It really feels like, and the character that we're following, like the sheriff, kind of reminds me of the same vibe as the character we're following in Westworld, the BT character, like very like learning.
Arthur?
No, I don't remember his name, but he's in this similar position where he like doesn't know that he doesn't know things, and then he learns them, and it's like very similar vibes.
Yes.
Naomi says, Shauna is me. I'm Shauna. I fucking love Shauna. One of my neighbors has been watching Yellow Jackets because I talked about it so much. And she's like, oh, she loves Shauna's best friend in season 1, whose name escapes me. And I was like, oh, she's like, I don't like Shauna. She's being so mean to her. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's the one who's been mean to, oh, Jackie. Yeah. She's very like a Jackie empathizer. And not that I don't empathize with Jackie, but I definitely prefer Shauna.
Yeah.
Anyway, Yellow Jackets is really good. Silo is good. I feel like I don't know yet like what's happening with Silo, so I'm excited to keep watching.
Yes. Movies.
What'd you watch?
Guess what I saw?
The Little Mermaid.
I'm so excited. This movie has been like rolling out for the past 5 years, and I was just, I don't know. I didn't have a lot of expectations. I was a little bit worried about the CGI going into it, and I just blown away. It is definitely the best live action adaptation of the Disney animated films. Halle Bailey is absolutely perfect. She is darling. She's so cute. She's just, and she's made Ariel her own. Like there wasn't, I mean, when I was watching it, I was just not even thinking of the animated film, but there are points when she literally sounds just like the animated film. And then, I mean, and her singing is so much better and not so much better. It's hard to compare because they're so different, but she's made it her own. And the movie was so cute. It was just so well done. There are definitely I have a few bits here and there that I'm like, didn't love.
Grapes.
Yeah. And, but all in all, I was excited and elated coming out of that theater. Like I haven't felt that way in a while, like coming out of a movie and just being like, I just like wanted to scream and tell people to go watch it, and like started listening to all the new songs that they have on the soundtrack. And I thought Sebastian was going to be the weirdest fucking thing, and he was so great.
Daveed Diggs is so fun, so I'm really glad that worked out.
He is, and he has like so many fun new lines and little bits here and there. So, yeah, it's the fun, nice little surprises. There's definitely like a bunch of different things missing, but there's also new things, and I think it all really worked out. Oh my gosh, and Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, fabulous. Just everyone killed the roles. Even like Prince Eric, because I'm such a Prince Eric girl. Like I love him. He was always Henry Cavill in my head. He's really cute. He's very much like Farmer George, like in a way.
Is Farmer George
from Queen Charlotte. Yeah, their energies are very similar.
I thought you were referring to like Joe Schmo. Like I thought Farmer George was like another word like that.
No.
All right, I see. Okay, cute.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it once it comes on Disney Plus, which inevitably will be like a month from now. I feel like everything comes so fast.
I know. I really want to watch it again, so I think I'm gonna see it like Sunday night or something.
Nice. I did not watch any movies this week. Should we move on?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to move into our main discussion. But before we do, we need to take a second to thank all of you listening. Thank you for being here with us. If you don't already, we'd really appreciate if you follow the podcast for free in your favorite podcast listening app, or if you like the visual version, hello on youtube.com/@those4kingfangirls. Can you subscribe for free so that you get the videos every week once we release them and you don't miss an episode? That would be wonderful. We, of course, are still trying to spread the word about the pod. So if you know a friend that might like the pod, greatly appreciate you sharing with them or sharing on your socials. Telling a friend is a very great way to get the word out about the pod. Leaving us a review on your favorite podcast app, Apple Music or Is it Apple Podcast? Apple Podcasts?
Apple Podcasts.
Why can't I ever get this right?
iTunes, Apple Music.
On Spotify, you can rate 5 stars very easily, and that's super helpful to us. And if you want to support the show in a bigger way, we have a Patreon. We are a listener-supported show. That's why we can do this every week. Thanks to y'all listening and our Patreon community. We have 3 different tiers with lots of fun perks. And at our Team Jacob $5 tier, you get an extra half an hour show every single week where we dig deeper into the more personal aspects of different topics. And that is called Fangirl Tea Time. And you get the show ad-free, and you can come record with us every week and hang out in the chat. It's a fun time. And then we've got Team Edward, where you get an extra show every month. Team Polis Bananas, where you can be on the show. And like, we take a listener on every month and have them as a special guest. And we also do fangirl bonding sessions over Zoom once a month, every month, where we hang out. And it's great. Fun times. So links to that are in our show notes. It's patreon.com/thoseforkingfangirls if you want to check it out. All right. That was a really check it out. But we really appreciate it. And we're so thankful for all our patrons. Thank y'all.
Yes, always.
We love you. All right. Moving on to our main discussion, which I'm so excited to have a bookish topic this week. We are talking favorite and least favorite romance tropes. And we're going to start it off with what are your top 3 or 4 favorite romance tropes, and where have they shown up in books, movies, shows that you liked them the best? All right?
Okay.
All right. Kick us off.
Okay. We have one that coincides, so maybe we want to talk about it together, but it's at the bottom of my list, so I guess we can probably pop around, but it's...
shit. We're going to start with this one?
Yes.
This is not like a classic trope.
Fine. I'll start with a classic one. All right.
Let's start with a classic. We'll do number 2. We'll do that one.
Okay. So, Hate to Love is... that's the main one that everyone loves. Okay. I remember I didn't know what romance tropes were. And then I started doing those romance collective videos, and people were like, hate to love, friends to lovers, all that. And I was like, oh, they're called tropes. Okay. Didn't know that. Then I started realizing that every book or pairing that I love is a hate to love. This is actually number 2 on my list. But some examples of that are Pride and Prejudice, which is the ultimate number 1. They're perfect. It's perfect example of hate to love. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren is even a better example.
The Unhoneymooners is hate to love, and it's also, I have it on my list as proximity.
Yes.
Forced in the same proximity, which I also love.
One of my favorites. So I feel like we have the main trope, right? We have the hate to love. And then there's all these little small tropes that kind of bring the characters together. So the forced proximity, the jealousy type of thing, the sharing of one bed. It's all kind of in that hate to love, which is what makes those stories so good and yummy.
Those little tropes can be used in any other trope too.
True.
The scenic tropes, the plot tropes, and then there's the character tropes. That's how we divide them, I think, there. But yeah, they all come together in whatever, concoction the author wants, and makes a beautiful romance.
Yes. And I don't know if you guys have experienced, I mean, probably most of us have, but when we're reading something and there's something coming up, the author is concocting, they're just putting in their little cauldron, and you're just oh, this is gonna be good. You could just see it happening.
You know it's going to get there. There's this moment at the beginning of Yours Truly where, the friend character is just let me know when you get to your, one bed at the inn trope, because it's going to happen for you, too. And, they're just friends. But, of course, when you hear that, you're oh, shit, we are going to get a great one bed at the inn scene. It is going to happen. And we fucking did. What a payoff.
I like one of my we'll go into that later. Okay. So and also another, which is kind of I think what sold me on Hate to Love, was my headcanon of Hermione. And so many fan fictions I've read. That's just the basis. Like if they're, I won't read a fan fiction if it was like Draco and Hermione were friends when they were younger, and I'm like, fuck that shit. No, they hate each other. That's the whole reason why I love them.
Yeah, I mean, Hate to Love is just really a core, very, like, it's hard to hate to love. It's a core romance trope, and it just because behind hate there is so much emotion.
Passion.
There's so much passion, and it is so fun to watch. I love watching two characters yell at each other and then like make out.
Yes.
I love making that happen in different scenes. I love in Bridgerton, the Queen Charlotte season that just dropped. They are so hate to love in a lot of different moments, and their sex scenes were amazing. Like the chemistry was through the roof with that hate to love energy. So fucking good. So
good.
And we get that energy a little bit in Book Lovers too, which I absolutely adore. And yeah, like their nemesises.
Yes,
it's in Beach Read too in the beginning. Like it's there in a lot of different amazing romances, and it creates a friction that is so yummy.
Always. All right, what about you, Christine?
All right, I'm gonna start off with my favorite. Like, I cannot resist a second chance love story. Obviously, like Again But Better, Second Chance Love, my own novel. That's one of the tropes in there. But recently, I read, Something Wilder is one of my favorite Christina Laurens, and that is like big second chance love energy. I loved it so much. To All the Boys I Loved Before is second chance love in a lot of ways, because she sends out these letters and then all of a sudden gets like chances at these crushes from her past to actually become a relationship. Absolutely love that. It gives me so many feels. Sophia says Happy Place is second chance love. I saw that come up when I Googled because I was just like, what else is second chance love that I'm missing? I feel like that's not second chance to me because not enough time has passed between them. Even like they never fell out of love. Like they were just apart for like 5 months or 6 months or something. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like second chance. I want them to be apart for like 10 years and then like see each other again.
like it happens at the very beginning, and then you don't have to wait that long, and then like
no,
they bump
you just
into
skip.
each other.
You skip to like 10 years later. Yeah, yes. That. Like they just met this one time and like it didn't work out, and then like they see each other on the street like 5 years later, and it's like, whoa, hi, who are you now? Do we fall in love again?
Hot take, but like this is definitely not my favorite trope. I don't know.
Second chance love?
No, it's not. I feel like I was scarred. Hold on. I feel like I was scarred through like fucking Serendipity, that movie.
That's not second chance love. They didn't even have love. There was nothing there yet. They just kept being fated.
I don't know. I just don't love it. I don't love the idea of it. Like, I like some instances of it.
No, I feel like you're thinking of the kind that they never actually get to be together, and it's just like all working up to it. But like, there's a lot of second chance love that's very much like.
So I enjoy the book, but it's not like the thing I'll reach into. It's like why like I won't like. I know like you just said, Happy Place isn't really like it, but it's like the fact that I that we maybe have seen them fall in love. Like I don't get to see, if we don't get to see like that first bit and then like goes into the second bit. Sometimes it's not my favorite way but then like you did it with Again But Better, and like we got to see like her feelings and all that, and like I love that. But sometimes authors don't do it well, and I've just been scarred. I'm like, ugh, I feel like I'm missing out on stuff.
Well, to be fair, for Happy Place, you do get to see them like
that's
in
true.
The beginning too.
You're
like
right.
it just told in different, in like flashback, like back and forth, like two different. It's not even flashbacks. It's like different timelines that you're seeing. it's like real life and then my happy place, because she goes to like these happy place memories because she's so stressed out, and then we keep seeing like the progression of their
maybe my thing is because I don't love it so much because I love seeing I love seeing it all unfold all at once. I don't love a different timeline, and I've never really been in like a relationship where like that's happened. So I don't know.
I can see that. That's like, okay, that's also a reason like Again But Better was confusing to like when I was trying to like when I was trying to get a publisher, you know, to pick up the book. It was like, well, they don't get to that part till like the middle, and it's like that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun, so we can
whole
see it.
Beginning. You
Exactly.
have to see the beginning to enjoy the second half. That's what makes it so like you're so invested, and that's why it's so much fun. And the same thing, the same thing happened. Like people will be like, the first half was kind of slow, but then the second half was great. And it's like, if you didn't have the first half, you wouldn't like the second half.
Yes, exactly. And I
This
think
is a plan.
like you did it so well, and that's why I love your book so much. But when it takes me a while to get me to like pick up something where I'm like, oh, it's second chance. Okay. Yeah.
Well, did you love 13 Going on 30? And like 17 again? Those are both second chance love.
Yes. I
guess
love
they
13
also
Going
have
on
another-
30, not because of the love part though.
Yeah, I know.
There are, I think so. There's a situation here that I can expand more on, which is when maybe we'll get to this trope that you didn't want to talk about at first.
All right.
That, like-
All right. Do you want to just move into our next trope, in love with brothers?
Yes.
I am in love with brothers. Like I didn't even realize it. So until I think at the end of the summer I turned pretty, and I was like, I love this so much. This is both the brothers. I'm like, oh my God, I'm weirdly obsessed with like brothers loving the same character.
Uh-huh. Me too. Like the summer I turned pretty. And then the kissing booth. We had a little bit of that.
And I loved that first
I
movie.
know.
Like, the thing is, I also find it really endearing, like, in Hamilton, how both sisters love Hamilton. Like, I just think it's, like, such a hard situation with so much trauma. And, like, a lot of people will be like, ew, how could she possibly like him? And it's, like, it's a complicated situation. And it's like, no, but her sister's married to him. And it's like, yeah, that's part of it. She loves her sister so much that she is not going to step in, but she still loves him. Like, it's so endearing, and it hurts. Like you feel
It's a
for them.
good hurt.
It's a good hurt.
And well, they also did it in Bridgerton season 2 with Kate.
Oh yeah, I loved it so much.
Me too.
Oh my God. I didn't even realize it until you just said it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like the siblings loving the same person is so gut-wrenching and so fun to watch. Like, I want to write that trope one day.
Yes. And Caitlin is saying, obviously, Vampire Diaries, which is what Christine has down
That's what
first.
inspired this first. Yeah, my first thing was like, Vampire Diaries, David Stefan.
Well,
I'm obsessed.
The Vampire Diaries is one of the only, I think, pieces of media that I actually understand the love triangle aspect, because it has so much time to expand on both of their relationships.
Understand.
I just don't love the love triangle. There's also another book series which I was hugely obsessed with called Paper Princess, and it was something I had told people very, very early on in the days to read. And that's not necessarily brother jealousy. There's also I'm like really big into like there was this other, I couldn't think of this book last night, but it's when like a girl or like a close, like a friend is orphaned or something. She has to come live with a family and there's all boys in that kind of situation, and then
like a
starts
fish out of water, sort of like the
and it's
only
like forced proximity.
girl, forks, yeah.
And she's having like she has a crush on like one boy, then maybe like some of them all have crushes, but then there's also like these really like endearing moments because maybe some of the siblings are really young, and like you see her like working together with them, and then there's like usually two of the brothers that have a crush on her, and I don't know, I love that type of situation.
Like, there's so many men that love her.
Yes. Caitlin says, having a sister, I will say I can't imagine being into the same guy. I laugh my ass off, or being into my boyfriend's brother. Boyfriend's brother.
Boyfriend's brother? But you're with your boyfriend.
Oh, no, her boyfriend's brother. Because of the two brothers situation.
Oh, like your sibling's boyfriend's brother. I mean,
Yes.
I can definitely see that happening, especially if you're in close in age. Like okay, also this happens in To All the Boys I Loved Before, which I didn't realize. I started rewatching it last night, and Lara Jean is secretly kind of in love with her neighbor.
Yeah.
Who her sister is dating for 2 years. But she talks about in the very beginning, she's like, we were friends before they started going out. And then like I became like a third wheel, and now Margot broke up with him. And then the letters get sent out and he has one of her letters.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
I see
And she's like, I love Margot. I'm happy for them. But like, it's weird.
Yeah. It's happened to me with my best friend where like we've both been into like the same guy and then they've never been into me. So it's like, that's probably why I really like the trope so much.
Yeah, I mean, and I could like see it happen. Like, I'm not like, oh, this is impossible. I could definitely see where that could happen. I've never been in a situation where it happened, but I love the trope. Like, I just love Damon, the Damon, Steph, and Elena dynamic so much. I can't, literally, if anything comes up like favorite ship, my first thought is Damon Salvatore. Okay, what's next on your list?
Okay, I have Marriage of Convenience. Why does it say conversation?
It said that last night when I read what you wrote. I was like, Marriage of Conversation.
Marriage. This is
I was gonna change it, but I was on my phone, so it's hard.
This is my number one. So I thought, so Marriage of Convenience usually has to have a little bit of hate to love, or there's like a friends to lovers type of situation where, like the main character and the love interest kind of have some tension, but like they have to get married. Okay, more specifically, I really love when this is like in a fantasy type of situation and the bride is trained to kill the groom.
What?
Yes.
What do you mean the bride is trained to kill the groom?
So like it's used in a situation where like, okay, well, these two are going to get married because their countries are at war, and to only bring them peace is to get married. But then she behind the scenes is like, well, we're going to kill him and I'm going to take over the whole thing. But then they end up like falling in love with each other.
This reminding me of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, it's God tier. So
I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith feels very similar too. I think it's working off of that trope.
Sophia says this is so specific, Natasha.
It is so specific. I have read a book like that, but like the romance wasn't a strong part of it.
Yes, and I feel like it has not been done well. At least what I have read until I've read fan fiction. This is very This is very specific in the Raylo verse. My favorite fan fiction from that pairing is Landscape with the Blur of Conquerors. I talked about it earlier this year. It's becoming a book. It's becoming the Hurricane Wars. It is so good. So yes, I love it.
You didn't mention the proposal, but that is
Hold on,
my
I
favorite.
haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
I was going off my very specific.
You're jumping around in your little thing, so I'm sorry. I was getting confused.
Also, Marriage of Convenience is in one of my other favorite, like, down to earth sports romance books. I'm a big sports romance book person. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata is one of my favorite books of all time.
Okay.
It's a marriage of convenience story. She is his secretary and he's just like this grump. And so she there's a lot of tropes in this one. Then The Proposal is one of my faves and I will rewatch all the time, and they hate each other. It's my favorite.
It's great.
Yes. And then Christina Lauren is Roomies, I think. Yeah, because he's from Ireland and they have to get married.
Yes, they're roommates. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they were roommates.
Yep. So this isn't my favorite. I don't really love Marriage of Conversation.
That's what we're calling it now.
Now I can't think of the word.
Convenience.
But I do love The Proposal. But I have this further down, but we're talking about it now. But so there's a Marriage of Convenience in Chain of Iron, and I love the Marriage of Convenience, but also I hate it because like it takes so long to get out of the idea that it's not real. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, you guys just love each other. Fuck off. Stop this. Miscommunication city.
My biggest thing is the whole miscommunication, like having to be like fake, but not this. That's why I love the whole fantasy aspect of it, because it's not really about like being about a fake marriage, but about like bringing two characters together and like they have to be together for like the good of their countries or something.
Yeah, having an external drive there is a big difference in how the dynamic is. But like The Proposal, the first time I watched The Proposal, I didn't like it. Oh. And like I don't remember why, if I was just not in the mood, but I didn't find it funny. And now I've watched it over and over again since, and I enjoy it so much. I don't know what it was. I don't think, maybe I just didn't used to like Hate to Love when I was younger. I didn't like get it. I don't know.
You didn't though, because it took you a while to really like it.
Like, what other instance do you remember me not liking it?
You hate Pride and Prejudice.
Oh yeah, well I still don't like them. He's so annoying. But I do like it, like with Ryan Reynolds. Like
he funny.
He has to be funny, yeah. I can't just have like a guy being a dick and her being like, you know, liking him. I need it to be like a funny dick.
Well, also I think you started really, I think, liking it when you read The Honeymooners as well. Well, because that was also funny.
Yes, that was very funny. But I feel like there was other ones before then, because that wasn't until like 2016.
Did you read The Hating Game?
I did not. I saw the movie though.
Oh yeah, well the movie's not as good.
I'm trying to think the first time. I mean, there's definitely like fantasy characters that have been Hate to Love that I've enjoyed. Like even Damon and Elena are Hate to Love. Yeah, I love them. I'm obsessed with them.
Forgot about them.
Yeah. So anyway, it's really grown on me, and if done right, I like the Marriage of Conversation. But like, if it's drawn out, I can't deal with it.
I mean, I was so fucking annoyed with Chain of Iron too, with the Cordelia and James. I was like, I thought this was gonna be great. It's my favorite fucking trope, and then it takes too long.
I know. I was so excited about it in the moment, and then I was like, no. I can't. All right. Is it my turn or your turn?
Your turn.
All right. Next on my list, I have anonymous emailing / letter sending. So, like, you've got mail. I fucking love this catfish emailing love story so much. And then, like, Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Like, they don't know who each other are, but they're finding solace in their emails back and forth. Red, White, and Royal Blue, like they know who each other are, but they're just long distance and they're emailing. Like I love letters. I love them so much. I'm obsessed with letters. And yours truly, there's a whole letter sending thing because of the social anxiety. Like my heart, it's so fun when they can't like immediately converse back and forth and they have to like write it all down and send it off, which is why like maybe I find myself writing fucking letter texts all the time when I'm like on shit.
There's a spoiler alert by Olivia Dade, which is like the plus size. She does all those plus size romances, and it's like when they're two fan fiction writers, and they don't know that like they talk all the time, but they don't know who each other are in real life, and it's so good.
Oh, it's just like a Cinderella story with Hilary Duff too.
Yes.
Yes. So cute. The Chad is in that movie. The Chad. All right. What's next for you? How do you feel about anonymous emailing letter sending?
Oh, I love them.
Yes. So fun.
I like specifically here. I guess I'm just going to get really specific in this episode. Specifically, I like it when
they're in the basement.
when they know each other in real life, but they're different personas via the email or the online.
Yes. That's like Geekarella too.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, though that's also, I like when they just don't know who each other are, but we know that they know each other in real life too. Like, yeah.
And then it's like someone that they don't like, obviously, from You've Got Mail, and like,
yes,
it's gonna ultimately
that's hate to love too. Oh man, You've Got Mail is so good. Like I just saw they were rewatching it and they were watching it in Ted Lasso, and I granted rewatched it like 2 months ago. I told you all about it. I was like crying and it was so emotional. I was watching them watch it and I was like, I'm so jealous that they're all watching You've Got Mail together. I need to watch it again.
Okay, but have you read a book where it's just all letters and it's like all written forms?
I don't want all written forms.
Yes,
I have like those Anastasia books back in the day.
Well, I love Rosie was written that way. Fucking hate that. I hate that.
I don't want all letters. Like I want to interact. Naomi says that Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan is her favorite letter romance book. Okay, I've been seeing that all around and I haven't read it yet. And Julia Whelan, obviously, I'm sure does the audiobook because she's the best audiobook narrator. She's amazing. So I need to get that audiobook. Good to know.
Sometimes I've liked it just because like we just get basically dialogue for the entire book, but it's hard. I don't know. Okay, my next
all
one.
Right, what's next for you?
Is Fated Mates.
Yes.
Specifically, when there's two things I really like in Fated Mates. This is also for Raylo as well, because they're two forces it's a bond formed in the Force. When they can talk to each other.
Through a bond.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. When I watched The Last Jedi and I knew what was going to happen, I was like, oh,
me too. That's why I liked Star Wars for a hot second. Their romance, and everyone like I would talk to would be like, ew, that's not gonna happen. And I'm like, no, you don't know anything. No. I know it's gonna happen. Like, maybe you've never read a romance novel. Like, you don't see the signs.
So obviously it's done in ACOTAR as well.
ACOTAR, so ACOMAF really, but it starts in ACOTAR.
Which has been really fun rereading it and being like, oh wait, is this it?
And I love like writing characters that way. Like I tend to do that, like that they were like kind of fated, because I love like the universe and fate. Like that also happens in that Becky Albertalli, Adam Silvera, What If It's Us has a big touch of like fate and like the universe. And I love it.
It's so at the end when it like comes together of like why they're meant to be together, it's just so beautiful, and you're just like, my heart, yes, this is the reason why they're together. It's also in Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is one of the reasons why I really, and that started off with like really bad hate to love, like really good bad hate to love. It was.
Oh my God, Warner in the Taramaki series, Ignite Me. Also Hate to Love.
I never read all of those. I think I only read the first one.
The second and third are the best ones. I mean, the best was the third one. But anyway, I was gonna say, yeah, I love putting the fate thing is so fun, and like that's definitely again but better too. Like I think all my books have like the fate.
I read somewhere. Yeah, I read somewhere that Outlander, like Jamie and Claire, are like fated mates because they find each other. I mean, they are. Yeah, they find each other through time, which is so beautiful.
They are fated mates.
But I love the fantasy version of fated mates where it's like this bond that like snaps into place. Yeah, and
imprinting.
Oh well,
Jacob is fated mates with Bella's eggs.
That's one I don't love.
I enjoy it for comedy. But yeah, I enjoy it in the real life contemporary novels and in fantasy. I think it's so fun everywhere. Like this ties into another one of mine. Is there any other angle that you want to talk about on this before I like tie it into another trope? Okay. So it ties into one of my favorite tropes, like the we met one day and really fell for each other. Yeah. And then like either like see each other in a year on the same day, the night, like November 9th. I haven't talked about November 9th in a while because there was like a weird controversy and I just didn't want people yelling at me. But like it was one line and Colleen Hoover went in and changed the line.
Yes.
I like didn't even register that one line. Anyway, I love that book so much. And yeah, obsessed with November 9th, and they meet every year on the same day. And you see that day every year.
It's so
and you don't see anything else. And it's so good. I loved it. Before Sunrise. Yes. Obsessed with it. I'm obsessed.
Christine, I have not watched those movies. You need to show them to me. I know, because
I'm worried that like I don't want okay. I never talk about these movies because I love them so much that I'm almost like I don't want anyone to watch them and not like them. So I'm just gonna keep them as mine. So
I understand that because I did that with Pride and Prejudice with my friend Courtney, and she did not like them, and I was like, hurt.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I can't deal with that. But like Gail Forman's Just One Day, and like I just love the concept of like them fall, because people do have these amazing magic days, and then like it puts an imprint on you forever, and to see it like follow through. Just one day, she spends like the rest of the book trying to hunt down this guy that she met this one day on vacation.
This is very much like Little Mermaid.
Well, Little Mermaid, they never talk.
Well, she saves him. There's a whole evening where she's like watching him, and then she saves him, and then he's like, who is this person? And like tries to go after her and find her.
I see, but like then they find her and they don't speak.
Yeah, and then it's so sad because it's like, she's right there. She's right there. That's why it's so good.
All right, so in Just One Day, so they have this amazing day, and it's not really about the guy so much. Like throughout the rest of the book, like we want to find him so bad, but like she has to go through all these lengths to find him, and in that trying to find him, she finds herself, and like she grows so much. I love that. I love like the growth through the love like happening, and like it ends. Spoiler. I mean, I don't know if anyone's gonna read Just One Day. It's like fast forward 30 seconds, but like. She finds him, like she knocks on his door, he opens it, and the book ends.
Oh.
Like so we have the day, and we have like her spending this whole book like meeting new people, hunting him down through Europe, and then like she finds him, knocks on the door, and then the fucking book ends. Now I made a whole like video with Gail, like a sketch where I like hunt her down. I'm like, you have to give us one more chapter. Like, how dare we spend the whole book trying to hunt down this guy she's like in love with, and then they don't even get to talk. But then she gave us just one afternoon, no, just one night, and we got to see their night together. It was great.
Okay.
It was great.
Your sketches with Gail are now, I'm understanding
Coming
them
back.
more. Yes.
Yes. So anyway, I fucking love that. Like, they both die at the end, is that too? Like, they fall in love through this one day, and it's fucking beautiful, tragic, sad, beautiful, tragic. Those are Taylor Swift reference.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is that even on my list? I think it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
okay, one amazing day. Okay,
Did you go through all of them yet?
I have one more. But
Okay,
did you
I
go
have
through all
one
of
more.
yours?
Quickly,
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
going to say, so Grumpy Sunshine is one of my favorite tropes of like character trope wise. And I was reminded of this because the other night I saw a TikTok of Arrow with Oliver and Felicity, who were like one of my favorite pairings back in the day because she's so sunshine and he's such a grump.
What are they from?
Arrow, the TV show. Green Arrow.
Oh, okay. I thought someone's name was Arrow. I was thinking Twilight.
Arrow. No. And I couldn't think of, and it's also in the Love Hypothesis as well, but that's more of like a fake dating type of situation, but it's the whole Grumpy Sunshine thing. It's my favorite like
Yeah,
character.
that's People We Meet on Vacation is also Grumpy Sunshine hardcore. Was there more in that?
No, I forgot to write more things down.
Okay, yeah, Grumpy Sunshine, you see that everywhere. I feel like it kind of sometimes will go hand in hand with Hate to Love, because one character will sometimes be really bubbly and the other character is like really annoyed all the time. They're so bubbly, and it feeds into each other.
Yes, it does.
My last favorite on here is a controversial because a lot of people love to hate a love triangle, but like when a love triangle is done right, it's my favorite thing. Like the Clockwork Angel series, fucking amazing. Like the best love triangle ever of all time. Jem, Will, and Tessa, like come on. And like I love in the Throne of Glass series having like a love triangle and then a love quadrangle. Like I love that. I enjoy it so much being like Team Gale, Team Dorian, Team Rowan. Like it's so fun to have those different like almost like choices that it's like choose your own adventure love interest. And I just love the debates it sparks within fandom, like the fun debates, not like the mean ones.
Yeah, I can see that.
And
I mean,
if it's done well,
if
then I
it's
love
done
it.
well, it's good. It just can't be annoying, and there has to be like good
It has
reasons.
to be. They both have to be viable love interests. Like they both have to be like great in their own respect, so that you can like both of them. And they both have to kind of respect each other, and they both have to like love the love interest. And like when they all love each other, it's the best. That's also why brothers and sisters make the best love triangles, because
Very
they
true.
all care about each other. As much as Damon says he hates Stefan, he fucking loves him. He's his brother. And as much as Stefan hates Damon, same thing. They're rooting for each other. And it's amazing, and it makes such good drama.
Caitlin says Throne of Glass made it feel real that you don't just find the one with the first person, it can take multiple people, which I feel like, yes, is very true.
Yeah.
And Sarah's very good at that because it's always just the one.
Well, yeah, I mean, you see that a lot in young adult books. But like in a lot of romance novels, like this isn't their first romp relationship sort
True.
of situation.
I guess we don't
but
see it a lot in fantasy novels.
yeah, in fantasy novels, we see, I guess, a lot of like the snap into place fated bond situation.
Well, even ACOTAR, like, she fell in love with Tamlin.
Yeah, but that's Sarah's thing. She loves that trope. She loves the like the first love isn't necessarily your love. Yeah. All right. Shall we move into what's your least favorite romance trope and why? Like, where was it done poorly that it scarred you, and was it done well somewhere, and do you like feel better about it now?
I feel like we just talked about this, but mine is the love triangle because I was scarred. I was scarred with Twilight and the Hunger Games.
So the Hunger Games was not a real love triangle. They just use it for marketing. I know,
but like they did kiss and all that. Like there were feelings.
Yeah, but it was just such a small plot point. Like, I just was like, this isn't going to happen. I didn't believe it ever. Did you? Like...
No.
Like, I feel like to be a love triangle, you have to actually think that there's, like, a viable relationship.
Well, do you think Twilight was viable?
Yes, because he was gone for so long. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, like...
When he's back, it doesn't make sense
When he's
anymore.
back, I'm like, it's never going to happen. Yeah. It's never. And she even says, she's like, don't make me choose. It's not going to be you. Like, that love triangle, though, both those love triangles feel like they were made for marketing purposes. Like, of course, Jacob was the first to really use it for marketing, and it was genius that they did that. Like, with the book, they handed out like Team Jacob, Team Edwards, and that had never really been done before. It was like being done with like celebrities, but like no book had been like, here, let's market this by like putting people on teams. And that was fucking genius. And then they tried to recreate it with books that weren't about the same thing. Like, this was a romance, the Twilight books. But, like, the Hunger Games, no. It was not a romance book.
Yes. I do.
A political thriller dystopian.
I do have another one, which I just realized when I talked about Love, Rosie, because it's very frustrating, which I guess this kind of is yours. So why don't you talk about yours and then I'll go into this.
All right. Yeah, that is mine. Okay. So mine, like, my least favorite trope tends to be friends to lovers because it takes so fucking long. I get so frustrated by it. And so many times by the time they like find themselves, they realize they're both in love with each other, it's the end, and then we don't get any of the parts where they're together. And I hate that. Like, I want to see them interacting like in a romantic way throughout the story. Not just being like, oh, does he like me? I don't know. I like her. Does she like me? And like they never realize that they both love each other. Like, stop.
Yeah, that is so perfectly displayed and how frustrating that is in Love, Rosie, because they've been like friends since they were young, and then there's so many different times where like she wants to say something but she doesn't know, and she gets pregnant by another guy, and then it's like her whole life has changed, and it just like takes years, like 15 years from the point of the beginning of the movie to the end when like he realizes like they both get married. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It's infuriating. And so it was done really well in People We Meet on Vacation. So like that has softened me to this. And also like I had since watched When Harry Met Sally as like an adult and really enjoyed it, because you have to be like prepared, I think, going in to appreciate the book in a different way and the story in a different way. So the first time I watched When Harry Met Sally, I'm told it's a rom-com, and I'm like, no, this is not a rom-com. I think this is also one of the first times I saw like a really hate to love beginning, and I was like, he's such an asshole. Yeah, I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I was like, why is he such a dick? I like just couldn't get into it, but I watched it again obviously like a couple years ago and loved it, and I just bought it because I want to rewatch it on Amazon. They didn't have it on any streamers. I wanted to watch it like 3 nights ago, and I was like, where the fuck is it? Like, it used to be Netflix? Streaming. No, it's nowhere. And so I had to buy it for $4.99 on Amazon. Anyway, yeah, there's Simon and Clary. Like, in fantasy books, I tend to hate the friends to lovers because it's usually not the real like what's going to be the end game, like Simon and Clary. I was like, ah. And then Jacob and Bella, when I was reading it the first time, I was like, ah. When I read it for like the fifth time, I was like, oh, I'd be interested to see how this would go. But we don't get to see how it would go. So,
you know what's another good example of the one day is The Holiday.
Yes.
Sorry.
I love The Holiday. Uh-huh.
All right. Moving on to rank these tropes from favorite to least fave.
We're going to rank some of these tropes. Okay. So we have here like, oh, I guess we don't have to give like what we have. We could just rank them. All right. So what, I don't know. Do we have to? Okay.
Why don't we just work off of we'll just go down yours and I'll tell you where mine is.
Okay. So at the bottom of my like 6 tropes that I've ranked here, I have the social status, like poor, rich, that sort of a thing, or like prince and like a peasant. How do you feel about that one?
Have this. So there's 6. We have 6 tropes here that we're ranking. I have this as number 5, and I really only like this when it's in like a high school type of romance, when there's like a popular kid. Likes more of a like, you know, not so popular kid,
the quiet person.
Yes, and there's like there's that hierarchy there in like the social status of being in high school. I really love this in One Tree Hill. I can't even remember. They get married. I can't even remember what they. But it's also in like To All the Boys I Loved Before, and so I do like that when it's in the like school, like high school specifically.
Yeah, but like Ever After, actually, I like it there.
Oh yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, but like it's not because I like that. I just like their romance. I like her a lot. I don't love that he's like the prince.
Is someone at the door?
I don't know. I just I heard machinery. All right. Go ahead. Bellamy. Quiet. Thank you. It's okay. Okay.
I do like the prince and it's like the Little Mermaid, it's Cinderella. I kind of like it. I do.
I don't love it, but like I do like it in Ever After. I love Ever After.
My bottom one is Forbidden Love. Like,
yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I like Twilight was the one and only.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of others. Romeo and Juliet, duh. It's just so frustrating.
I hate Romeo and Juliet. Like they just die.
It's just like this family. It's so dumb because Forbidden Love is just like social construct. Like the reason why they can't be together is because usually families, different lands or countries are feuding.
Yeah. You know who does this really well though? Actually, I just realized A Part of Your World.
Yeah, you're right. Is it Forbidden Love really, or is it like a...
It kind of is, because she's like, I can't be with him. Like, and you understand where she's coming from, because they're like, their social circles are so different, and she knows that he won't be accepted into hers. And it always feels stupid everywhere else, but when I was reading that, I like really empathized with her. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's
Part
true.
of Your World is really good. She really uses a lot of tropes that I don't usually like and make me love them.
Well, Forbidden Love is also used in like a cheating type of way too. So if it's like if someone's married or with somebody else, that's why I don't like that probably.
Yeah. I guess you can use it in so many different ways, and like you have to be specific about the ones you don't like.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the next one. I have that at number 4 here, the Star-Crossed Forbidden Love. The next one, though, is at my number 3, and that's Forced Proximity, which I love. We already talked about it. The Unhoneymooners. That's number 1 for you.
Wait, isn't Marriage and Convenience number 5 for you?
Oh yeah, I forgot to even talk about that one because we already talked about it. Yeah,
my most favorite is her like second to last.
Oh well, you have forced proximity as your number one.
I do have forced yes, because that's what I love most. I think in a
marriage of convenience,
a marriage of
convenience, forced to be proximity,
hate to love type of thing. I wrote down here neighbors, or which is in like beach read.
Lola, the boy next door.
Yeah, boy next door type of situation. I love a forced proximity.
Yes, I love that too.
Just let me be with them in the room and they have to love me.
And then like fake dating is the last one on here that we haven't really talked about, which I love. I have so much fun while it's happening, and then I get frustrated, just like the marriage of convenience, if it goes on too long and they don't realize that they like each other.
Yeah, the thing with fake dating and also marriage of convenience is like something has to give. Like,
yes,
you always
sooner rather than later,
and you always know like it's gonna happen. So that's one of my least favorite parts of that trope is because you know it has to happen for them to move on to the next step and to like actually share their feelings. It's interesting when it doesn't have to have that, and maybe the author takes it or the writer takes it in a different direction and it kind of surprises you. So I have that as number 3. I put the love hypothesis down because that was fake dating.
I put yours truly because we've got some fun fake dating in there. I like when the fake dating is supplemented with like accidental physical stuff.
Yes.
Yes. And then because that will hold you over because they'll be like, oh, that wasn't like they were just, I don't know, caught up in a moment or something.
Well, I originally put down the Court of Nightmares in Akamath, which is not fake dating.
It's not fake, yeah.
But it is fake because they have to put on a show.
It's really sexy, yeah. But like they know they like each other at that point, right? Like, aren't they together?
Yeah.
They've already done the soup can.
I don't remember anything from that book. So I've seen soup can.
You don't remember the soup can? It's the mating ritual. You have to give him food, and she's like, "Do you want some soup?"
Oh.
And he's like, "The mating ritual is complete." They're at like this house in the forest and they have sex like on a bunch of paint. Oh, it's a great scene.
That's after the Court of Nightmares.
It is?
Yes.
We have to reread this book.
Well, I don't know if I can wait another 5 months to go through it again. We gotta take it 4 chapters at a time then.
It'll be easier because it's not ACOTAR where everyone's annoying. All right. So let's talk about really quick your favorite like situational scene tropes rather than like overarching book tropes, because we can't leave without talking about like being stuck in an elevator because I fucking love it.
Okay.
When people get stuck in an elevator, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be the best.
Forks proximity. Yeah. So, I mean, I love it when like, usually in a fantasy novel, sometimes it's in like a contemporary, when the main character gets hurt or somehow is hurt emotionally, physically, and then comes back to the love interest, and the love interest is like, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, it's nothing, like I fell down. No, who did this to you?
I'm gonna hunt them down.
I'm gonna kill them. And it's like, usually it's paired with like a hate to love kind of thing, and like you kind of see like, oh wait, they have
it's like finally they have feelings.
Yes. That is my favorite. I always get so giddy when that happens.
When the elevator happens, like it's the moment where they're finally like forced to confront their feelings, or like they finally talk after avoiding each other. Like, oh my God, when they got stuck in an elevator on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, those giddy. Were we watching it together? I feel like we might have been. And I got so excited. Like, oh my God, they're gonna kiss. I feel like they might have had sex in the elevator. And Mindy Kaling on the Mindy show. Wait, what is it called?
The Mindy Project?
It's the Mindy Project. Oh my gosh. The moment where they got stuck in an elevator was so gratifying because these characters hadn't talked for so long. And it was just, and of course, in my books, I'm not even going to say which one if you haven't read, but there's an elevator scene and it's my favorite. Also love a bet. And we see this in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yep.
We see this at the beginning of Beach Read, like a bet. It's a great way to start out a hate to love relationship or any relationship. We love a game here.
I'm gonna skip this one because I already talked about it. Okay, and this one kind of goes. Okay, so
Oh my god.
accidentally seeing each other naked is one of my favorites. Like the proposal, there's some it is usually like another hate to love.
Sorry, I just remembered something I need to talk about. Okay.
Yes, go ahead. I was like, what's going
The
on?
proposal scene is so funny every time.
Every time. I get so giddy every time I watch that scene. Yeah, I love, they do it a lot in kind of TV and movies. And you know when it's about to happen, and I get like really good. I can't really think of another situation where that is.
I can think of one.
It also happens in like one bed, or like maybe she's like gone to like to bed or something. Anyways, what's your other situation?
So this happens in Friends like early on where they like accidentally see like I think each other naked and like it doesn't really pay off in a romantic way till way down the line. But okay, Friends actually has one of my favorite friends to lovers of all time, and that's Chandler and Monica.
Yeah.
Like basically season 5 is like a whole romance novel. Like season 5 and 6 are my favorite. It's when they're getting together and like Monica's drunk. I also like this. Like one character will get drunk and then like they'll admit their feelings, or they'll like kind of be attracted to each other and be like, why not? And then they're like, oh shit, we really like each other after. And like that's what kind of happens with Monica. Like she gets really drunk and she like wants to have just sex, but she ends up with Chandler, and then the next morning they're like, whoa, that was really good. And like keeping their romance a secret. Oh, I love keeping the romance a secret if they're both on board for it to be a secret because they don't want anyone's 2 cents. Like when one's keeping it a secret, it's dickish. When they're both keeping it a secret, it's the most fun. Chandler and Monica's romance is like actually one of my favorite things of all time. Like now I'm just remembering like all these amazing moments. Like when they're keeping it a secret and he accidentally kisses her when he was saying goodbye in front of everyone, and he's like, this is just how I say goodbye now. And he like kisses Phoebe and Rachel. And then after they're like, no. We're not doing that again. Because like it happens right after Europe, and Monica's like, oh, he just picked it up in Europe.
That's hilarious. Wait, I'm sorry. This is totally a left field, but another one of my favorite love triangles is the host.
Oh my God. I love that love triangle.
So good.
I'm shipping her with like Isaac so much. What was his name? Like the other one.
Max
Like,
Irons.
Okay. What's so interesting about the host though is that there's 2 people in one person.
Yes.
And one of them, Wanda's in love with like Ian, and Melanie's in love with Jared. Oh my God, that one's amazing.
Yes.
Because like everyone, you feel for everyone, and like they only have one body to share. And
then she's
my
like,
God,
can you
I
go away
forgot
for a
all
while
about
so I
this.
can be with...
Wait, yes, it's so good. Oh my God, it's gut-wrenching in the best way. Again, Stephanie Meyer's best book, so underrated, and I'm sad like the movie wasn't amazing, so like not everyone thinks it's amazing, but it's so good. I need to reread that.
I want to reread it too. Maybe that's the one we'll reread.
I was just gonna say, should we reread that? Like,
Yeah.
every time I read that book, I get so emo and cry, like in the best way. Like, it hurts in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Okay, we have.
All right. So, do we want to go
Let's
through?
skip this.
Can we do this one?
Yeah.
Can we do? Okay. Let's just quick touch on our least favorite, like, break up the couple in book 2, because I have so much rage for breaking up the couple in book 2, and my least favorite now, like, this one was emo the first time I saw it happen, and now I'm like, fuck amnesia. I don't want to ever see the character get amnesia and then not be in love with the other character. It hurts so much, and I don't want them to have to fall in love all the fuck over again.
Yeah, so that's really frustrating. It's just a very frustrating type of situation because, like, obviously there has to be some tension that happens, and I honestly kind of loathe going into a second book being like, okay, are they going to break up the character just so that we can move the story along? Or, like, is this going to be a plot device? Like, can we just not use something? Can we use something else for a plot device? The big thing here is miscommunication.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I hate that fucking trope.
It's terrible. But it happened. So it's okay because it has to happen sometimes. But just a chapter is what I like. And then the next chapter, we're past it. Not a whole book. Because I'm going to murder that book.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like, go ahead.
No, I was going to move on to my next one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the next one is like lying or betrayal, which is just like, that should be the end of the relationship, honestly, unless they can work past it. But because I was just rewatching Bridgerton season 1 and why we, like, my friend and I were sewing together and we're like, this is like the good part. Like, they're friends and like they're having a good time. And then there's the big lie and they get together and they don't know what's going on with each other and they're not being truthful. And then it comes out.
Not being truthful. It's so annoying in Bridgerton season 1 because he's literally just not wanting kids because he swore to his father as like vengeance, and his dad
would rather die.
Yeah, his dad has passed, so he can have a kid now. It wouldn't affect his dad. Like, he's gone. He already told him he's not going to have it, so he kind of got that revenge because his dad thought that he wasn't going to have one.
It's very prideful.
Yeah. It's very prideful. It's very Pride and Prejudice, that first season. The way he acts. I feel like he's very stuck up sometimes in that same way. I'm like, shut up, Simon. But yeah, she thinks that he physically can't have children. And because he says, like, I can't give you kids, but he's just not having kids. He like pulls out all the time when they have sex, and since they don't teach the women anything about sex, she doesn't know what's going on. So annoying.
It's very sad.
Yeah. Anyway, I also hate, I'm doing this for you. I'm breaking up for your own good. I'm not good for you. I'm not good.
Not good. I was a good kid.
Our new moon commentary is coming. I'm gonna put that out this week. But yeah, I hate it so much. You know what, like, really so if you have like a trilogy and it's young adult, in the second book they're gonna break up usually. You can count on that, and I hate it. So what really subverted this for me was The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I was really nervous because I really love the relationship in it, that in the second one they were going to have to break up, but they didn't. They were just together the whole time, and it was fucking great. And they were supportive and amazing. So I still highly recommend The Good Girl's Guide to Murder audiobooks. So fucking good. Relationship is great. The murder, so good.
I just realized another thing I'm very specific about in my hate to love is when the character, this is in Pride and Prejudice, when the main character overhears a love interest saying something really mean about them.
Wrong.
Wrong. Yeah.
I hate that.
And it's just like, your heart is just like, oh, I hate him. And then
I hate that trope of misunderstanding something that you overheard.
Yes, but yeah, it has to be like a really short period of time.
Yes.
And then
then it's okay. But like when they stretch it out, I want to murder everything.
Yep.
Like, and like it could be done well too. Like in Bridgerton, she overhears him being an asshole, and he's just actually being an asshole. Yes. It's great. In the second one, season 2. Yes. All right. We are going to move on to Mary Kiss Cliff. This has been so much fun.
I know.
Talked about so much. Okay.
My voice hurts from like screaming.
Me too. Me too.
All right, it's my turn for Mary Kiss Cliff.
Mary Kiss Cliff.
All right, so we have the Batmans.
Ooh.
Batman. Christine, give me your best Batman. Oh, that's good.
Batman.
I'm Batman. All right, so we have Ben Affleck Batman. We have R. Pat's Batman, and we have Christian Bale Batman. Christine, who are you marrying? Who are you kissing? Who are you cliffing?
Oh my God. Well, I'm obviously gonna marry our Pat's Batman. Like,
really?
It doesn't even feel like an option to like marry either of the others. Like, they feel like olds to me.
Interesting.
And also, our Pat's like
I know
the dream.
The dream.
Yeah. As people, like as their characters, am I thinking they're Batman characters or like they're
You're thinking they're
characters
Batman characters.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why I said interesting.
Well, I don't like the thing is we don't even know our Pat's as a Batman character. He's just like a bat. Like he has no personality. Fine. I'll marry Christian Bale Batman, even though I feel weird about it because he's old. And then our Pat's Batman, F, and then Ben Affleck Batman, Cliff. Sorry. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Okay, so I'm actually going to marry Ben Affleck Batman. Because I feel like I like his personality more. He's better.
Does he have one? Martha is my mom. It's all I remember. We have the same named moms.
Yeah, I like Ben Affleck Batman best. Yes. As far as marriage material. Now I'm gonna cliff Christian Bale Batman because I could care less about him. And I'm gonna...
You don't like a billionaire playboy philanthropist?
They're all billionaire playboy philanthropists.
They don't really feel like it except for Christian Bale.
And then I'm definitely just gonna kiss her F. R. Pat's Batman. Like the whole scene with him and Catwoman. I love it.
I like that scene too. It's like my favorite one in the movie. All right. We're going to move into chapter chat where we are in the final dregs of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. Chapters 42 and 43 today.
I just have so many notes.
Do you want to start us off with chapter 42?
Like, how am I going to get through this? Okay, so chapter 42 is the last night before Feyre has her last trial, and she's in the throne room or whatever where they're dancing, and she's just like waiting. She's like, okay, well, Rhys has someone on his lap. I really want to drink so that I can't remember anything. And then all of a sudden there's this crisp, warm presence next to her.
She smells Tamlin. Yeah. She's like, could it be? Could it be?
I'm gonna see it as like a musical.
He just like brushes her fingers and walks away.
Yeah, and then like he looks back and beckoning her to follow.
Like, yeah, this is the thing with his head where it's like, come on, follow me.
Yes.
Follow me to the closet.
It's very Bella telling Edward to follow her to the meadow.
Oh.
So
isn't it Edward? Oh yeah, she like walks by and she's like, I'm gonna tell you what you are.
Yes. So they go into a room and they just start like brutally making out.
After they haven't spoken this entire time, no dialogue, just like
Nothing.
groping each other immediately.
Mm-hmm. Like
This dark room.
Yeah, she's like, I mean, basically they were like about to have sex because
she's like, I want him right now. That's what she said.
Yes, and like he bit her neck. And like was just grasping her everywhere. Also, mind you, she's got all that paint and then just that flimsy little dress on.
The paint. And she like hooks her leg around him, and then Rysand opens the door and he's like, what is going on here?
No, he says, shameful. Look what you've done to my pet.
Yeah, but like in his head, Rysand's like, I've worked so fucking hard to organize this shit so that we can get out of here, and these two bozos are about to blow it right before the finish line by like getting in trouble with Aramantha, and then she's not going to be able to do the last task because they're going to be murdered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, and like Tamlin just is a good
doesn't
boy.
Think about anything.
No, he doesn't. And he like buckles his belt, or he Rhysand goes, be a clever high lord and buckle your belt before you go out there. And Feyre's like, he's listening to him. He does not doing anything. What the heck? We just made out. I haven't even talked to him for like 3 months. And
Maybe
then he leaves.
Spoken in your one moment alone.
Yeah, basically this is a chapter where like kind of Rhysand, his walls are coming down, and you're seeing that he's actually doing that. We all know he's doing this for a good reason.
He's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, he's trying to do it. And like the paint vanishes from Tamlin's hands, and then Tamlin says like he loves he whispers I love you to Feyre. Not like why didn't he do that in the beginning?
I picture it like I love you. And then like stalks away with his head down.
Yes, and so of course Feyre's mad and admonishes, or she gets admonished by Rhys, and then she's like pig, and then he pins her arms to the wall and tells her that she's so stupid, and his wings start to rise, and she's asking him like, why does he care so much? And he gets so angry and he goes, why do you think I care? And so I'm like, what was he going to say? Was he going to say like they're fated? I don't know.
He knows that he cares. I mean, like he knows that there's something going on between them, but she does not know.
Yes.
But he also really cares because literally the fate of their whole kingdom rests in her dumb hands who were just groping Tamlin. And like any second, he's like, Aramantha's going to walk in here and
of course
see
she
you
does.
guys. And she does like 10 seconds later with Tamlin.
Yeah. And like everyone else is behind her. And this is like the first time that Rhys and Feyre kiss, because he has to cover up the fact that she was stupid, and she's got all those smudges all over her body. And
so he kisses her and she's like, stop it. But he's like, you have to let me do this. And then when Aramantha comes in, she's like, I knew that's what happened. Mm-hmm. And
he sends Feyre to her cell like right away.
He's
so
like, I tire of you. Go to your cell. And then he appears in the cell, and she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, just want some quiet. Just shut up.
He calls Amarantha a bitch, and that she's running him rancid as he serves her. And so I can imagine only like right after that kiss that the Amarantha saw that she was like, well, I'm going to put you in your place. Like you know,
yeah,
this is where you belong, is in my bedroom as my whore.
Yeah. And he's just like, everything's kind of like, it's reached a tipping point for him. He's like tired of putting on a facade. Mm-hmm. He's tired of having to like pretend all the time. And the only person he can talk to about it is Feyre, because everyone else, like, he can't trust them, and he needs to, again, like, put on this, like, I'm an evil bastard sort of persona.
Yeah, so he gets kind of candid with her.
Yeah.
And kind of, he shares some truths about what will happen if she breaks the curse the next day. And that's what he's hoping for. That if she breaks the curse and she finishes this trial that he's hoping that Tamlin is just so angry that he's just going to slaughter Amarantha and pull her apart because his powers will be and then she's like, what happens if he turns to you? Well, and he's like, well, the only thing that is keeping me safe is the fact that I'm not using you as if Amarantha is using me. I'm, keeping you safe. Like, why do you think I only,
touch your waist?
Yeah.
And he was like, I would have loved to enjoy you, but I need to prove to Tamlin that I am doing this for the right reasons.
Yes. And we also found out that Rhysand's dad killed Tamlin's dad and brothers, and that the only reason why Amarantha is using him as a whore or whatever is to make Rhys suffer the consequences of his father. Like, because she was friends with Tamlin's dad. With them.
Yeah, but they were dickheads.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The only thing I have here is that Feyre realizes Rhys is keeping her alive and gets him to admit he didn't have to bargain with her. Yeah,
so she starts to realize that, like, despite, whatever fucked up things he was doing was all for the right reasons. Like, he's just trying to get them out of here in his own weird way. He's doing the right thing and trying to save her and keep Tamlin on his side, because when they get their powers back, they're all going to need to work together to get out of here.
Yes.
Okay, so that brings us to chapter 43, the third task. And so the third task, Aramantha brings Feyre out, and she's like, Feyre, dear, you have to murder these 3 Fae, and they all have hoods over their heads, and she has to murder them all in cold blood. There's an ashen stake in front of all of them for her to use to stake them through the heart. And everyone's watching, and of course, she is completely torn because she has to be a murderer, but like the weight of Perinthian is on her shoulders. Like, if she doesn't do this, she doesn't free everybody. So she has to fulfill it because she still doesn't know the fucking answer to the riddle. Mm-hmm. We haven't even heard about the riddle again. Like, she hasn't even thought about it. So, she kills the first one. They take the hood off before she actually murders him, and it's like a young Fae teen. And he's like, don't do it. For his life. Please. And she kills him. And then the next one is a Fae woman, and she's like, just free me, send me to heaven or whatever, something like that. Release me. And she kills that person. And then, like, so next to Aramantha is Tamlin, as usual, but then they take off the hood of the third person, and it's Tamlin. Mm-hmm. And she looks over at the other Tamlin, and it's just a mirage, and it's actually the adder that's been sitting next to Aramantha. Mm-hmm. And Aramantha's like, ha, 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 ha. To break the curse, you have to, like, you didn't have any problems killing the other Fae who was, like, a random, and she needed to kill him to live. Like, she thought it was an animal. Yeah. Anyway, so now it's come full circle, and she has to kill the Fae that she fell in love with after, like, so she hated Fae, then she realized that Fae are just like people, and they fell in love, and now she has to murder the Fae that she fell in love with. And
what a conundrum.
It's a whole conundrum, and she's like, I'm being so poetic. Like, that's what Aramantha is thinking. And she's like making sure that Jurian, the human that killed her sister, is watching by like holding up her hand so he could see. And in this moment, she like thinks about how there's part of the curse that they couldn't tell her. And she's trying to figure out what it is. And she realizes that all those times she was eavesdropping, they wanted her to eavesdrop. That was their way of getting around the curse. So they weren't like super dumb and didn't hear her. Like, they wanted her to hear these things. And all these times they make references of like, for someone with a heart of stone, you have this about Tamlin. And it turns out she's realizing that like he must actually have a literal heart of stone, and that's how she controls their magic. Like, their hearts are stone, so their like whole magic isn't there, and he can't be killed because his heart is stone. And so he realizes that she realizes this, and he like smiles at her, almost like a faint smile, like, oh, she knows, she figured it out, and she stabs him, and that is the end of the chapter. And this is legitimately the first time that I was like, oh man,
I know.
we need to start the next chapter.
Me too. So she does say "I love you" and then stabs him. Did you say that?
Oh yeah, I love you. Yeah.
And then also Reese's face goes pale when he realizes that it's Tamlin under the hood, obviously, because
Yeah.
But then my thought is that the way that they are keeping the High Lord's power is through their stone hearts. Now, does everyone have a heart of stone? And why would Rhysand's face go pale? Or is it just Tamlin whose heart is of stone?
I think for a minute, I think they all have it, if that's the way that they're
Because they can't
controlling the magic.
Because Rhys said that earlier that they can't access, or Amarantha can't access the power, and I think
magic.
it's because
it's trapped inside.
Yeah.
So what I took from like Rhysand's face going pale was that he was like, I don't know if she's gonna do it, because she felt so like just thrown back. She stumbled back when she saw his face, and he was like, oh fuck, she's not gonna do it, because it took her a couple minutes of thinking and like realizing that she can do it. He's not gonna die. And I by that point, she's not looking over at him anymore. She's like looking at Tamlin and being like, oh, I know. So I'm thinking like for a moment he was like, fuck, everything's gonna go to shit because she's not gonna be able to kill Tamlin and blah blah blah. So that's how we end.
We have 3 more chapters left, so we're gonna finish the book next episode.
Yeah. Next episode, we're finally finished a chapter, so it'll be episode 30. Look at that!
Wow, 30 episodes it took.
30 episode reread. That is our episode today. We are going to record Fangirl Tea Time, which is available on our Patreon, and we're going to be talking about which romance trope we'd want to experience in our own life and how we think that would go in reality versus how it would go in a book. I think that's going to be fun. And again, like, you can find that on our Patreon, and if you become a patron, you'll unlock all the Fangirl Tea Times, which will be a real fun listen. And that our show is edited by Alex Polis and Jake Needham. The music is by Cole Jenkins with vocals by Heather Traska. We are on Instagram as Those Four King Fangirls. We are on Twitter as Fork Fangirls Pod. So if you want to follow us over there, you'll always be notified when there's a new show out. And we will see you next Friday. We release episodes every Friday. I'm Christine.
I'm Natasha.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.